Yeah, thank you. We do have a new tornado warning, which is now officially moving into our area. This remains a confirmed tornado. It now clips far northwestern portions of Grundy County. This tornado warning continues until 6:45 this evening. Again, this is a confirmed tornado. This was last seen near the Iowa Falls area. Tornado warning includes southwestern portions of we'll friend of mine and storm chaser Hunter. You got that tornado picture right there. You can see that big cone on the ground. This was just northeast of Iowa Falls at approximately 6 o'clock, so about 5 minutes ago. This was a view of that tornado. A big thank you to Hunter for allowing me to use that photo on air. But that is the reason that we're going to be going what we call continuous coverage or wall-to-wall because of a tornado warning. Again, that is the tornado that we're watching right there. Let's also touch on the other severe weather threat that we're watching. We do have an active severe thunderstorm warning in our area as well. This severe thunderstorm warning for Blackhawk and Bremer counties until 7 o'clock this evening. We're talking about 60-mile-per-hour wind gust as well as quarter-sized hail with this storm. We're watching that storm right there. This is that warning right now. Reedland, this storm will be on you pretty closely. If this storm quickly looking here at the storm relative velocity view. We'll touch on the tornado warning here in a minute. You can see there is some spin here right here. This is just along and just east of Highway 63 and just along about Highway 3. So this intersection, there's a bit of spin here just north of Denver, just west of Reedland. So that's that severe thunderstorm warning. We could potentially see this upgraded to a tornado warning if that rotation continues to strengthen as well. Right now, it's not terribly strong. If we put kind of a bit of a query on there, you can see it's spinning at about 34 miles per hour. That's pretty strong, but not enough to warrant a tornado warning quite yet, but obviously we're watching it very closely. The other reason that we're on the air, of course, is the tornado warning. So we're going to look back right now, kind of broad view over eastern Iowa. You can see the storm threat. If you're in Parkersburg, no threat with the storm right now in terms of a tornado threat. You're going to get lightning, you're going to get heavy rainfall, you're going to get some gusty winds as well. But the tornado threat is tracking south of Parkersburg. You can see that brand new severe thunderstorm warning just issued as well. That is to encompass that wind and hail threat that is moving into Butler and Grundy counties as well. But again, that tornado threat right near the Iowa Falls area. We'll get a bit closer to the storm right here and take a look at the velocity view. Again, at last check, this was a confirmed tornado. Only about 5 minutes ago, we had a report of a tornado still on the ground, potentially doing damage. There were some damage reports that were coming in earlier when that storm was farther northwest towards Dow, where the spin is in the atmosphere. So that tornado warning continues, and if that rotation continues to hold together, that will be moving southeastward here over the next about 15-20 minutes. So that will be moving into our area pretty closely. Quickly looking, we'll kind of move the map a bit to focus in a little bit more on our area. That storm is moving off to the east and southeast at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So putting a quick kind of timeline on things, the slowest I can get this down to 30 miles per hour. So we'll kind of do this. This is just a very preliminary kind of look at timing for the storm. Robertson out of our viewing area, 6:11, Ackley at 6:14, Steamboat Rock at 6:30, and Wellsburg, that's when it's really starting to move more into our area. Wellsburg around 6:31. So that's that threat right there. Again, you can kind of make out that area of rotation right there, just a long kind of get a better picture of the storm structure. You can kind of see probably the hook echo right here now just leaving and exiting the Iowa Falls area. The area of interest really just crossed Highway 65. Likely right near Iowa Falls. So if that tornado was still on the ground, it was likely potentially producing some damage near Iowa Falls. But again, that pink shaded county, it's pink because it is a confirmed tornado threat. And that is moving off to the east and southeast. We had that photo from Hunter. We have another photo coming in from Willard Sharp. If we can take that right there, that's that tornado that is the reason for this tornado warning. You can see that tornado right there kind of inside of those wind turbines. So obviously we're looking at a confirmed tornado threat with this storm. The damaging wind and hail threat probably will ultimately be the biggest threat today. But right now, we are watching that tornado threat as well. That tornado was northwest of Iowa Falls earlier. West portions of Grundy County here in the not so distant future. So Ackley just outside of our area, but that's kind of where that area is heading in right now. Looks like we have a new tornado warning. I'm guessing it's probably up by Reedland. I just broke something. Let me step off the stream real quick. There it is. Yes, that's what I expected. Okay, new tornado warning. So this is more in our area. We We have a brand new tornado warning here. This is for Black Hawk and Bremer counties, far northern portions of Black Hawk County. So once again, to stress, Waterloo, you're fine. Your phones might be going off with a warning right now. You're not under that tornado threat right now. The tornado threat is well off to your north. Again, Reedland, it's coming your way pretty soon. The air circulation at last check just crossed Highway 63 and was approaching US 3. So that's what we're watching right now. We'll away precautions right now. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Make sure you stay away from windows, siding, exterior walls of your home. That'll be the best place to be. Safest place to be in the event of a tornado, of course, is a basement. If you don't have a basement, that's fine. The most interior room, a hallway, maybe a closet or a bathroom. Interior room will be the best place to go in the event of severe weather. You don't want to be in an exterior room. By that, I mean if you have a window that looks outside, you don't want to be in that room. Top floor of your house, obviously you don't want to be there as well. Vehicles, you want to escape those vehicles and definitely leave mobile homes. If you can seek a sturdier structure, that would be a good thing to do. So here is another tornado warning that we're watching right now. We have 2 active tornado warnings in our viewing area. Number 1, this encompasses far south preset. A lot of people might be getting alerted to the severe weather threat ongoing. Here's what we're dealing with. The active severe weather threat along and north of Highway 20 at this hour. So we have 2 active tornado warnings with this storm. Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, for now, things are quiet. It's hot and humid, but here comes that severe weather threat that is moving in our general direction. We do have another photo, I believe, as well of the severe weather threat. Look at that, guys. That is the reason that we're talking about tornado warnings today. That one from Johnny Raincloud. Love that name. You can see that tornado right there. That is, again, part of the reason why we're dealing with active tornado warnings in our area. This was with the storm that was far northwestern portions of Grundy County and southwestern Butler. That tornado warning, or that tornado, I should say, the potential is there in the atmosphere. So let's take a look right now again at the radar view. We're going to go full screen here. You can kind of see that in our area, things are pretty quiet for Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Vinton, but this is the area of concern. So I'm going to jump back up to this brand new tornado warning. Take a peek on it. Anytime we have multiple storms, we're going to be jumping back and forth to kind of keep everybody updated. Remember, we get new radar updates about every 2 minutes. So every time we get a new radar update, that storm has moved a few miles perhaps. So we want to keep everybody updated. You can see that tornado warning continues here, far in northern portions of Black Hawk County. The majority of this warning here is going to be in Bremer County, just south of Chipola. This will be approaching Reedland pretty soon. Air circulation likely just north of Denver. Area in Denver, you probably have a pretty good view of what's going on with this storm, but you are oh so close to the warning. I would wind gust. You can see that big pink core continues to kind of increase here. That's that indication of hail right there, right along or just north of Highway 3 near the Reedland area at this hour. We'll go ahead and take a look again at the spin in that storm to kind of see how things are spinning. It looks a little more disorganized from what it was earlier, but still enough to warrant the tornado warning. Again, see the reds going away from the radar. This radar is up by La Crosse, Wisconsin. So the radar is going away here, going towards here. You got that spin right here. That's just east of Highway 63 and right along and maybe just north of Highway 3. So that's that severe weather threat that we're watching right now. Tornado warning there continues until 7 o'clock tonight. We're going to pop the radar view back on. You can kind of see the active severe weather threat that we're dealing with. I'm just going to pan this to get in a better frame here. I'm going to walk. Latest updates coming in from the National Weather Service. We did have that tornado report earlier by Iowa Falls. That was in Franklin County. That was around the 6 o'clock hour. We are also getting reports of ping pong ball sized hail in Franklin County. So that's with that tornado warning that's coming into Grundy and Butler County. We also had reports of a funnel cloud north of Denver. So that kind of makes my suspicions that that storm was rotating more confirmed. And in fact, that funnel cloud report was at Highway 3 and US 63, which we called out on air not too long ago. So that really coincided quite well with the radar situation. We do have a video of the active severe weather threat in our area as well. This one from Miles, you can see that just a stunning tornado there. Hopefully this stays out in open fields away from homes, but that is just showing the potential of these yet tornadoes. So doing a quick reset. Here we are again. It is currently 6:17. You're watching Iowa's News Now at 6 o'clock. We do have an active tornado warning in our viewing area. This would be approaching the Reedland area. This tornado warning continues until 7 o'clock. We're also worried about the threat of large hail and gusty winds. Looking at the spin in the atmosphere, what we call the velocity view, the storm relative velocity, basically how the raindrops are spinning in that storm. You can still see there is that indication here of spin right here, just west of Reedland that is approaching you pretty soon. It's riding down Highway 3. So Reedland, you really need to be in your tornado safe place right at funnel. About 3,600 people are in that warning, so we want to make sure that every single person in that warning is getting the information this afternoon. We're going to go back to, let me jump back here real quick, the radar view of things. Here's that active tornado warning that's also in our area. Thankfully, we've not had any other reports with this particular storm other than the funnel cloud report. And again, I don't want to discount the threat of large hail and gusty winds as well. We're going to zoom out a little bit, kind of show the area of storms as they're slowly making their way deeper and deeper into our area this afternoon. I do want to pop up real quick also the active warnings that we have. So all of this kind of pink shaded area viewing area here. You can see Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Vinton over towards Tama, down to Williamsburg, Waterloo, Delaware over to Manchester. We're up to Clayton and Alameda counties, Decorah, Charles City. You're all under that severe thunderstorm watch that will continue until midnight tonight. As these storms continue to progress, they'll continue to warrant that threat for severe weather, including our friends in Dubuque, and if needed, that watch may need to be expanded eastward more to include Jackson County, Cedar County, as well as Washington and Keokuk counties. We're watching that very closely. Let's go ahead and look at the radar view of things right now. How things look across our entire viewing area. We have another severe thunderstorm warning just across the Mississippi River in southwestern portions of Wisconsin. But we have two active tornado warnings in our area right now. So let's jump back to the Grundy County storm. We get County under that tornado warning. That's until 6:45 this evening. This was a confirmed tornado. We've been showing you pictures of the tornado. Obviously, this was a pretty photogenic tornado as well. Most of these reports right around the Iowa Falls area as that storm was moving into our viewing area. The tornado threat right now is getting ready to cross Highway 20. If you by any chance know people that may be traveling east and west on Highway 20, get them to stop probably by Highway 14. That highway that goes down to Grundy Center or up to Parkersburg, get them to stop there if they're going, say, west from the Waterloo area. If they're coming eastward, say, from I-35, get them to stop here at US 65, the Iowa Falls exit. We want to try to avoid Highway 20 right now, between Highway 60 right now. We do have Nick Weig out in the road warrior this afternoon, kind of tracking the severe weather threat as well. Let's get a quick update on where he's at this afternoon. What are you seeing out there, Nick?
Yeah, that's right, Nick. We are just approaching the Waterloo area, about to head west onto Highway 20. Really taking a look at that supercell, now just south of the Ackley area, just west of Wellsburg. This is the one where we have had that observed tornado. We've seen those pictures that you've been showing on air on Iowa's News Now. A very impressive supercell. Fortunately, so far, no word on any damage that we've heard from, but obviously a pretty potent cell. Now, we're still a little ways out, so we're not seeing a lot of definition in the clouds right now from our vantage point, but we do plan on coming up on that cell here with that storm.
All right, thank you very much for that report. Again, he is approaching this storm right here. We do have two active tornado warnings in our area. We have this tornado warning, which will continue until 6:45. They have dropped the confirmation of the tornado tag, which means we haven't had any reports recently, but it has a history of producing tornadoes. And you may also notice the hail size is now 2 inches. That is bigger than golf balls. Golf balls, that's 1.75 inches in diameter. This is now 2 inches in diameter. So just another reason why you may not want to be traveling on Highway 20 here, because you're going to blow out your windshield with very large hail. This will be approaching our northwestern friends here in Grundy County pretty soon. Let's go ahead and put another track on of the heavier hail and strong winds. We'll actually go all the way out to Grundy Center here Let's see if I can do that. There we go. You can see Steamboat Rock, that's just outside of our area, around 632. Wellsburg around 634. Holland around 651. Grundy Center around 658. So now is the time, as this severe weather approaches, to do a few things. If you have patio furniture out on a deck, out in your yard, maybe try and secure it, put it away in a shed or a garage. Make sure you're doing that though well before the storm actually approaches. You also want to make sure maybe moving cars inside of a garage if you have it to avoid the hail, or away from trees in case those trees or tree limbs come down onto your car. That's one thing that you can do. That's a good idea right now for our friends in Grundy County, because this storm really has no reason to fizzle out or weaken. This area, in the not so distant future, you will be dealing with this storm. Whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning, it really doesn't matter, because either way, it's a high-end severe weather threat that we're going to be watching as it moves that way. Let's go ahead and take a look at our other active tornado warning right now, which is up in our northwestern portions of Blackhawk County. We'll go ahead and take a look at that storm right now. Thankfully, we haven't had any recent reports of tornadoes or funnel clouds with this storm, but here is that tornado warning, which continues for Blackhawk and Bremer County until 7 o'clock. You can see it's not moving very fast, only about 10 to 15 miles per hour. It's kind of drifting right now down Highway 3. The core of that storm is now east of US 63, so Reedland, again, it continues to approach your area at a very slow rate. Begin to fall as well. Let's take a look at the spin of that storm to see what the rotation's looking like. Again, earlier we did have that funnel cloud report just north of Highway 3 at the US 63. Right now, the velocity view doesn't look as impressive, which is good news. We'll kind of switch to the Des Moines radar. See the reds going away, the greens coming towards. Bit of spin right here right now.
2 diabetes?
Discover the Ozempic Trizone.
Over on Fox 28, so we're now on CBS 2 and Fox 28. Quick update on what's happening right now. We have 2 active tornado warnings in our viewing area this afternoon and evening. This number 1 tornado warning continues for Blackhawk and Bremer counties. That's until 7 o'clock this evening. We're talking about quarter-sized hail, the potential of a tornado. This storm has a history of producing funnel clouds. Is coming towards Reedland right now. If you're getting alerts, say in the Waterloo area, the tornado warning and severe thunderstorm warning right now is well off to your north. For now, we're watching more storms coming in from the west, but for now, our friends in Waterloo are fine. There's no active warnings in your area. That tornado warning is far, far northeastern portions of Blackhawk County. And a good portion here of Bremer County. Again, that continues until 7 o'clock. Reedland, you really need to make sure you're in your safe place right now, as that tornado potential is right on top of you. The good news is the radar velocity, the spin in the atmosphere doesn't look as pronounced there. So that's the very good news. The other problem, though, that we're dealing with will be large hail and strong wind gusts. Taking a look right now at the storm reports, we're getting a whole lot of reports right now. I have not. That was at 6:17, so only about 10 minutes ago we had that report of a funnel cloud. We are getting some hail reports in this storm as well. 1.25 inch, that's just north of Reedland as well. So we're getting a lot of reports of this severe weather. This was the initial funnel cloud report that prompted the tornado warning. That was at US 3 or US 63 and Highway 3. That was at 6:05. So again, that's the threat that we're watching right now. Looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. As expected, it now includes much of Grundy County. So the good news here is we've dropped the tornado warning for Grundy County. The bad news is you're still going to get some pretty high impact severe weather. Brand new severe thunderstorm warning for most of Grundy County. This also includes far northwestern portions of Tama County and far southwest portions of, because we're talking about hail 2 inches in diameter. For some perspective, golf balls is 1.75 inch hail. We're seeing hail at 2 inches, so bigger than golf balls falling with this storm. The other concern here will be wind gusts approaching 60 miles per hour. So this is diving now southeastward. So more of Grundy County under that threat. And if you are in portions of Tama County, be on the lookout because this storm is slowly heading your way. Let's go ahead and take a look at the velocity view. We'll kind of get a better idea of where the strongest winds are. It is wrapping right here as it kind of just south now of Highway 20. So the strongest winds right about Eldora. We'll be moving into Grundy County here within the next couple of minutes. So Grundy County, Grundy Center, start preparing for that severe weather threat because it's coming your way. We do things you want to deal with for severe weather. I don't even know why this graphic's popping up. Let's just clear that and go right back here, friends. Okay, so here we are with that tornado warning. We'll do a quick reset here. This is now the lone tornado warning in our viewing area. This tornado warning will continue until 7 o'clock. This is far northeastern portions of Blackhawk County and a good portion of Bremer County. That again until 7 o'clock. We're talking about quarter-sized hail. The other issue, that hail likely falling right now right about Reedland, probably just north of Highway 3. This storm has a history of producing funnel clouds. We had one funnel cloud report at 6:05, another one at 6:17. Thankfully, no confirmed tornadoes with this storm, but it does have a history of spinning pretty good. Looking at the spin in that storm, the velocity view, how those raindrops are moving in that storm, it's gotten pretty messy here. Tornado threat here. But the good news is that spin, that very strong rotation, is kind of quieting down just a little bit here. Right now, though, it does appear to be pretty close to Reedland. Maybe a new area trying to develop here around US 63 right near Denver. Looking at the radar view, you can kind of see it looks like it may be trying to kind of hook again here. So we're watching this storm very closely. We're going to keep an eye on and see what the National Weather Service in La Crosse wants to do with this storm. But again, this storm has a history of producing funnel clouds as well as large hail. Going through some of the reports with this storm, again, this is all around the Reedland area and just north of Denver. We had that initial funnel cloud report that came in at 6:05. That's what prompted the tornado warning. That was right near Highway 3 and US 63. Again, that was at 6:05. But then we had another report of a funnel cloud. The other concern, of course, is the hail with the storm. We had reports about 1.25 inch. That's about half dollar-sized hail with this activity. We do have meteorologist Kason Frericks with us this evening. Kason, what's it looking like outside, and what's the information you're kind of gathering right now?
Yeah, trying to check into National Weather Service chat here, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it looks like 3 miles to the north there of Denver, we actually have a report of baseball-sized hail. 2.75 inches. Lots of reports of hail going on for right now. Besides that, that's really just been the main things. That was one of the things, obviously, we were talking a little bit more about and was kind of expecting was some larger hail with this, especially earlier on, along with that wind threat that was going to be kind of the dominating traits. Obviously, we now have a tornado threat as well as we kind of watching these going forward. But those have been the real big things. But certainly baseball is making sure that you're giving yourself away from the windows, because those things, baseball's going through that with 60, 70 mile per hour winds. You know what can happen to windows, and that's not a good sign whatsoever. Of course, like Nick mentioned, we just have a couple of reports of the funnel clouds as well, but no real updates beyond that here so far.
And part of the reason that we're dealing with the tornado threat is the videos that we've been getting in. This video coming in from Miles, you can see that big tornado, very tall kind of needle tornado there. Thankfully, this appears to have stayed in more rural areas, although we did have some reports of damage northwest of Iowa Falls as it was approaching our area. Here's another photo. This coming in from Molly. You can see that big, tall tornado there. This is also just north of Iowa Falls. So we had a lot of reports around the Iowa Falls area. That's part of the reason why we're kind of issuing these tornado warnings, because clearly the environment is capable of a lot of very large hail as it moves into Grundy County, as well as strong wind gusts. So let's go and look at the radar view again. Here's why we're still on the air. This tornado warning continues for Blackhawk and Bremer County until 7 o'clock this evening. Alongside the tornado threat is the large hail threat. Again, we did have the report of baseball-sized hail, so big concerns with this storm this evening. Again, that tornado warning continues until 7 o'clock. If we look at the velocity view again, we'll get a new update here. It just doesn't look as organized as it did earlier, which is a good thing. We don't want to see this thing continue, but it's also pretty far from the radar site. The radar here is in La Crosse, Wisconsin, well off to the north and east. So any area of rotation will be kind of near the rear southwest of Reedland. So this is just south of Highway 3 and probably just east of US 63. Maybe a new area of circulation trying to kind of develop here. So that's part of the reason why the Weather Service is likely keeping that tornado warning active until 7. It's going to be pretty heavily rain wrapped. You can kind of make out the hook feature right here in the radar view. So there's definitely some type of hook appearance here on the radar view. but that air circulation would be completely wrapped in rain. So this is one of those things where it's not going to look as pretty as some of those photos and videos earlier. You're not going to be able to see this tornado. You're just going to put yourself in a bad situation if you try to go out and see it, because that circulation now is pretty wrapped in rain. So that makes this thing even a little bit more dangerous, because you can no longer see that tornado coming at you. But what you can see is likely a hail threat north of Reedland as well. Let's go ahead and do a quick reset of everything for all of our viewers that are popping in here and there. I know we're on your normally scheduled programming. I'm not even sure what's on right now, but I apologize for breaking into something you want to watch. We are bringing in that severe weather information as we get it. We do have an active tornado warning right now, but if you're in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, we're sitting okay right now. There's nothing actively something that we have to worry about. But look at how this storm in Grundy County kind of draw a line from the edge of the polygon. That will inevitably likely be approaching Cedar Rapids, and the far left edge of that draw a line will be approaching Johnson County, Iowa County. So we have a lot of friends right now in Coralville for RAGBRAI. They're all camping out, a lot of people in tents. Make sure if you know people that are out in RAGBRAI, they should already be aware. Johnson County Emergency Management has been phenomenal squall here to kind of get a very rough estimate. If this storm continues to maintain strength, and if this storm continues to move off to about, let's say, the east-southeast, I want to stress this is very preliminary. This is just for kind of a heads up of how things may evolve. If the storm continues to maintain strength, Traer around 7:14, Tama around 7:51, Belle Plaine around 8:17, Cedar Rapids around the 8:30 hour. So that's about 2 hours from now. Iowa City around 9:30, West Liberty, that's around 9:55. So that's assuming the storm doesn't pick up speed and also lose strength. So we're going to have to watch that very closely over the next several hours. So for now, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, you're looking okay. But again, we're on the air because we have that active tornado warning here in portions of Blackhawk County. This is a quarter-sized hail, if not larger, strong wind gust as well. Again, that tornado warning continues. I would say that air circulation probably just southwest of Reedland now, maybe just around the Denver area. So if you're in Denver or Reedland, make sure you're taking your tornado precautions right now. We do have Nick Weig out in the road board this evening, keeping an eye on the severe weather threat. He's out there kind of heading towards these storms at this hour. Nick, where are you and what can you tell us right now?
Well, Nick, we're just approaching the dike area, or near dike on Highway 20. We're just getting our first look at a little bit of lightning that's being produced by this supercell. Our plan right now is to continue on Highway 20 and then to head south towards Grundy Center to stay on the southern side of this. Clearly, there is a pretty impressive hail core within these storms. What you're seeing on the screen right now is the leading edge. What comes of these winds. Still some pretty strong wind gusts, at least according to the radar from what we're seeing, Nick. Fortunately, though, have not seen much in the way of damage. Hopefully that's a trend that continues. But we'll continue tracking this as it moves further south and east into eastern Iowa. And for now, Nick, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Nick Weig. And again, we are watching that severe weather threat. This is just likely the beginning of a pretty long evening of active severe weather. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch, which continues until midnight. That includes Cedar Rapids down to Iowa City, over towards Williamsburg, Vinton, Tama, Grundy Center, Waterloo, Manchester, Clayton County, Allen McKee County, Decorah. So all of this area under that severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock, or excuse me, midnight. That 10 o'clock is up in Minnesota. Our area, so Iowa's watch continues until 7 o'clock this evening. The main threat here, again, a potential tornado. We had funnel clouds with this storm earlier in the evening. But the other threat here is strong wind gust, as well as maybe some large hail. We'll look at the velocity view again to see how the raindrops are spitting in the storm. Things have gotten pretty messy here. Let's jump down to the Des Moines radar. Maybe a bit of a better picture here just around and south of Reedland. It looks like the storm kind of did a bit of a reorganization. It kind of swung back south here. So right around and just south of Reedland, you're dealing with that potential tornadic circulation here. We have no indications a tornado is in progress at the moment. But again, we did have earlier funnel cloud reports. And the other issue now is that this air circulation is more wrapped in rain. So remember, this is kind of that spin right here just south of Reedland. If we pop the around that circulation, so reports, just because it's really difficult to actually see how things are breaking up. I do want to point out, though, our friends in Waterloo, this storm is now coming at you. Right now it is not severe warned, but you can kind of make out this bowing feature here. Likely some stronger winds are trying to get translated down to the ground here. I bet you there's some pretty gusty winds getting ready to cross Highway 63, approaching Waterloo. Well, let's actually take a live look in Waterloo and kind of see how things are looking that way. Look at the Waterloo metro area. Let's take a camera here on the north side of town. Let's see if it's looking in the right direction. Let's see if it's looking north. I don't believe it is. I believe actually this is looking north. You can kind of see the dark skies there just barely on the horizon. This is on the north side of Waterloo. For now, you can see things are fine. Traffic moving along just fine. Your rainfall here shortly, just getting ready to move into Waterloo. The other concern that we have right now is the active severe thunderstorm warning. This continues for virtually all of Grundy County. That until you can see 7:15. We're talking about 60-mile-per-hour winds, but the other concern is very large hail. You can see there's likely a lot of very large hail falling just south of Highway 20 right now, just south of Wellsburg. Grundy Center, the worst of that hail is kind of heading in your general direction. Holland as well. This will be approaching Highway 175 and Highway 14, that intersection. If you're living in that area or know people that may be living in that area, just be aware that the large hail threat is kind of coming. The worst of that hail may just swing just north of that intersection, which would put more of Grundy Center in play. But again, that is at what we call a considerable threat. It can polygon in frame here. I want to go the other way. I want to zoom out, not zoom in. Again, this severe thunderstorm warning continues until 7:15. Virtually all of Grundy County. This does include Dyke, Grundy Center, down to Conrad, Rhinebeck as well, also in that severe thunderstorm warning. Northwestern Tama County also in that severe thunderstorm warning. So this is, again, a pretty strong storm as it moves in your general direction right now. Meteorologist Casey Frericks, are you seeing any reports coming in with either this storm or the storm up in Butler County?
Yeah, we have just some thunderstorm wind damage that we're kind of looking at. Obviously, just some smaller branches down there in Bremer County. That's a report that has come in as well. I'm just looking at some of the other things that we're seeing. That tornado warning that was over at sort of the Franklin-Butler County area. The National Weather Service said that they, besides oh, sorry, I'm messing you up there a little bit, is the prolific lightning with these. It's kind of crazy. Obviously, it's a big sign of the instability that is in the air, and that was one of the other big things that we were kind of worried about, how that could possibly match up in terms of the dangers with the hail as well as the wind threat out there. So there's a lot of lightning taking place in both these storms right now, so keep that in mind. Obviously, getting inside, I know a lot of events kind of going on as we're kind of wrapping up this week, so make sure you're finding a sturdy shelter and getting out of that lightning, because that certainly can be another dangerous situation with those as well. But besides some wind damage, we have some more reports of hail, not at that baseball level, but certainly looking at 1 3/4 inches, 1.5 inches sort of coming in. So you're here, the last couple of tracks, they have kind of come down, and we aren't seeing that sort of tight rotation that we really are watching when we're kind of looking for to see some of that spin that's taking place with these storms. So that's really good news, and it looks like that particular storm, we lost that tornado warning, so that's good news. We just have that severe thunderstorm warning that's warned for 60-mile-per-hour winds, as well as that 2-inch in diameter hail, and it'll go until 7 o'clock for Blackhawk and Bremer. So that's good news on that front, at least for us.
Let's real quickly look at some video that we're getting in. We don't exactly know where this video is from. We're trying to work on that still, but we do have video of the storm to give you an idea of what we're dealing with this afternoon. You can see a lot of tree limbs down in the street. You can see it there on the curb as well. So an indication of very strong winds. You can see the very heavy rain falling with that storm. The flag is blowing pretty good. Probably right here, wind gusts from maybe 50 miles per hour. So maybe this quick, we will wrap up our coverage. Let's just real quick look at, we have that severe thunderstorm warning. This continues for Blackhawk and Bremer County. That until 7 o'clock, considerable threat. Again, we're talking about that threat of very large hail, 2 inches in diameter, so bigger than golf balls. That'll be approaching Reedland, Tripola. This will be continuing to move off to the east as well. Waterloo, you're likely going to start getting some thunderstorms and heavy rain moving in your area. You're not officially under a warning at the moment, but just know things can quickly go severe given the amount of instability in place. And of course, we have this other active severe thunderstorm warning here. This continues for most of Grundy County, as well as far northwestern portions of Tama County. That until 7:15. The main threat here, also very large hail. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on this storm. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Iowa's News Now with the first meteorologist, Nick Stewart. A brand new severe weather update. We have a tornado warning which has just been issued for the southern portions of Dubuque County. This tornado warning will continue until 8:15, and then it moves into Jackson County, which is outside of our viewing area, but we're going to continue to follow that rotation as it moves through this. Rotation in the spin kind of pick up as well. So let's go ahead right now and take a look at the velocity view. You can see how those raindrops are going to be spinning here. That rotation just south of the Dubuque airport now, right on Highway 61, that will be crossing the Dubuque and Jackson County line here momentarily. So if you're in southern Dubuque County, you want to make sure you are aware of that tornado warning, because that is now in effect until 8:15. That's the one threat that we're watching tonight. Let's go ahead and zoom in real tight to give you some better idea of the areas that will be impacted by this storm. Again, the airport is right up here. It is south of Skyline Road, Haxby Lane. It'll be kind of approaching your area right now. Haxby Lane and US 61 is about the area where that air rotation will be crossing. And right here, this is that Dubuque and Jackson County line. So it's very, so it does mean tracking a whole lot of severe weather in the area this evening. We got a whole line of strong storms moving through eastern Iowa, Lynn County, up to Delaware, Buchanan counties, Benton County, and Tama County, all under a severe thunderstorm warning right now as this strong line of storms continues to move east and southeast. So we're tracking multiple issues this evening. One of those, of course, is the tornado threat with that warning there in Dubuque County. But we're also watching that severe weather threat as well. Real quick, let's go ahead and zoom in on this storm that's moving through Benton County into Lynn County. This is arguably probably the most concerning storm right now for most of the area. We have really high-end winds moving right now through the Vinton area, potentially approaching 70 miles per hour. This storm is moving off to the east and the Vinton area over towards Garrison, Center Point, Shellsburg, Urbana's up here. Robbins is also going to be in the fringe of that warning, but inevitably this will be coming down towards Cedar Rapids as well. So need to watch this storm very closely. We'll go ahead and put a quick line on the storm. We'll say it's moving at about, if I can get that to work properly, it doesn't want to work for me. There we go. About 40 miles per hour is the storm right here. We'll draw this and we'll kind of time it out as it moves off to the south and east. So Walker, getting a lot of warnings popping up today, friends, if you couldn't tell. I'm having all sorts of issues here. Okay, Walker around 7:55, Center Point around 7:59. The Center Point Travel Plaza there around 8:01. You got the Casey's right there. You got the McDonald's right there. It'll be kind of in that area around 8:01. Palo around 8:08. Atkins around 8:11. Central City at 8:17. And if it continues to maintain.
And obviously, we're watching closely there at that tornado warning up there in Dubuque County. We have not seen any more reports besides that possible lowering taking place that might have been more of just a shelf cloud that we were looking at there. Obviously, lots of reports of gusty winds around 70 miles per hour with those severe thunderstorm warnings moving through portions. Obviously, Blackhawk, Buchanan counties that we're watching closely there. So we're obviously trying to monitor all of these. A new report in here in Delaware County, down power lines actually in Manchester right now. Not a good sign with obviously the warm temperatures that still continue on here. Nick, you're still off that here. I might just pop on velocity real quick once again so folks can kind of see. So obviously, so that's not looking quite as impressive right now, but obviously we're looking at just heavy wind gusts still kind of coming out of a lot of these storms for right now. So, but obviously we do have that tornado warning, so make sure you're taking those precautions. You're getting inside, lowest floor of the building, as well as getting maybe into an interior room or closet if you don't have a basement. Always the best place to be. It protects you the most. And if you're in a mobile home or something, maybe try and get out of that. Go to a friend's or somebody who's got one of those site-built structures. But a lot going on certainly right now across the area.
Actually, do we have Nick Weig out in the road war? I'm kind of curious where he's at in the severe weather. Before we get there, again, just let me know when he's ready. Okay, we don't have access to talk to him right now, but let's at least split screen if we can kind of figure out, of course, where he's at too. But he's out in the severe weather event that we're tracking right now. He's obviously dealing with a lot of lightning right. I think that's Vinton. But you can see a lot of lightning with the storm. Torrential rain and strong wind gusts are occurring with the storm. In the Vinton area in Benton County, we're talking about strong wind gusts, potentially around 70 miles per hour. The other threat, of course, is that tornado threat here. So the strongest winds are now exiting portions of Dubuque County. I'm going to ask again, again, if we can pull up the Skycam view, we do have our Skycam in Dubuque. We are watching the severe weather out that way. We had some very heavy rain moving through the Dubuque area as well. And you can see visibility is very low, frequent lightning happening with that storm as well. So a very dangerous storm moving through the Dubuque area this afternoon. The other issue, of course, with the strong wind gust as well as the heavy rainfall is going to be that frequent lightning. That is going to be a major concern this evening. So if you have outdoor plans, you know, people that are outdoors today, let them know that we're tracking all sorts of issues this afternoon due to the combination of very strong winds. Here across the area, we're on the air because of a tornado warning there in Dubuque County. The bulk of that rotation now exiting Dubuque County, heading towards Jackson County, which is outside of our viewing area. We'll let our friends down in the Quad Cities take over for that tornado warning there. But the other threat, though, of course, we're watching is a strong line of storms that continues to move through the central part of the area. Benton County in the thick of it right now. It is starting to move into northern portions of Lynn County as well. We'll go ahead and jump in here to take a look and see how the storm is evolving here over portions of Benton and inevitably moving into Lynn County. This is what we call a considerable threat. It's a strong wind threat here. Wind gust of 70 miles per hour. The Benton area just took that pretty much head on. You can kind of see that bowing part of the storm, that backward sea. That is that indication of very strong wind gust, and this is now moving out of Benton County into northwestern portions of Lynn County. Are moving in the storm. It's a bit cluttered here, but what you can see are these really dark blues in there. That's an indication of some very strong wind gusts. I'll try and sample some of this here. It may be kind of hard because some of it is kind of cluttered. You can see wind gusts on radar around 80 to 90 miles per hour. Now that's aloft. So that's likely not completely reaching down to the ground, but that does show that there's some potential here for some very strong winds as this moves through Benton County and into Lynn County. So we'll need to watch that very closely here. The strongest part of this storm right now is exiting Vinton, moving towards Shellsburg, over towards Urbana and Center Point, Robbins as well. I don't think it'll be too long before we extend this warning more into Cedar Rapids. And as a preliminary heads up, and it has that considerable tag of 70-mile-per-hour winds, you will hear the sirens. Keep that in mind. Meteorologist Casey Frericks, any updates or things coming in right now?
Yeah, just watching some of these storms. I just had a new thing kind of come in here. They have a destructive thunderstorm warning now for this will be Poweshiek County. In Tama County, excuse me, as well. Observed wind. So make sure you're obviously getting inside because that's dangerous. That could be throwing obviously the hail with these storms as well.
Reason that we will actually continue now with what we call wall-to-wall coverage or continuous coverage is now because of this destructive thunderstorm moving into Tama County. We're talking about winds of 90 miles per hour. That is pretty intense. You know, that's the equivalent of a weak tornado. So that is now moving from the Marshalltown area now into Tama County. So very high-end severe thunderstorm here moving into southern Tama County. This will include the Tama-Toledo area. So that is a big concern there. Let's go ahead and kind of zoom in a bit farther on this storm to kind of hit portions of Tama County. You can see Garwin here likely to be dealing with this really intense storm. LeGrand, another area that will be dealing with really strong winds. So between about Tama and the Poweshiek County line, get ready for very intense winds moving with this storm. We do have
Well, Nick, we stopped in Vinton for a few moments as the strong winds came through. We're now making our way south of Vinton to try and get out ahead of the strongest winds and make our way back towards Cedar Rapids. Obviously under the gun there right now with some of the strongest winds. For now, no major damage to report in Vinton. Officially, there was a 50-mile-an-hour wind gust. We were seeing reports of a little bit higher than that, but no evidence of any major damage other than a few small limbs. But again, right now we're going to head south to Highway 30 to get out of, to avoid the core of these winds now approaching Interstate 380. And we're going to make our way back to Cedar Rapids and examine what these storms are doing as it gets darker. For now, we'll send it back to you at Broadcast Park, Nick.
All right, thank you very much. And as expected, we do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. 10 o'clock this evening. Again, notice the tag there, considerable. We're talking about wind gust of 70 miles per hour. This will be enough to start triggering the sirens in Lynn County. So if you start hearing them, if you know people that may be hearing them, I know Stormy will be singing the sound of the sirens here at home momentarily. We're going to start seeing those sirens. And again, that's because of a wind threat as opposed to a tornado threat. So very strong winds will be moving into the Cedar Rapids metro area here pretty soon with this line of thunderstorms. If we take a look right now, what we call the base velocity view, we look and see how fast those raindrops are moving. And that is a very high-end wind signature here, exiting the Vinton area, now moving towards Cedar Rapids. So very strong winds are possible with this storm. Before I query some of these numbers, I know they're going to be probably pretty high. I want to stress this is aloft. It'll be a bit higher in the atmosphere, likely miles per hour. Down to the ground, we're probably seeing winds closer to 70 or 80 miles per hour. So that is one thing that we're going to be watching very closely here. And another note just on the tornado warning that we've been watching over here towards Dubuque County, that has exited Dubuque County. That circulation, you can see it there right now. That circulation has exited Dubuque County. That's why we're not touching on that anymore. Still strong winds, heavy rain in Dubuque County. The tornado threat is now into Jackson County. We are watching two pretty intense areas of wind right now. The first, of course, is approaching Cedar Rapids, and we have a live view of that storm right now as it moves in. You can see that big shelf cloud there. Power flashes there as well. Bottom left of your screen, you can see power flashes. That is the indication of the intensity of the storm that's about to be moving into the Cedar Rapids metro area. Very strong winds are about to move into the metro. So we're talking about winds potentially 70 to 80. Fantastic. You can see the really strong dust getting kicked up as well. So a pretty strong storm is now going to be moving into Cedar Rapids. So now will be a good time to make sure you're staying inside. Powerful storm getting ready to move into the Cedar Rapids metro area any minute now. You can see the dust getting kicked up, power flashes as well. And again, the strongest winds are likely just now moving into western and northwestern portions of Lynn County, now exiting Benton County. So very strong winds are indicated here on that threat. Again, feel free to split screen whenever we get a second. We'll keep an eye on the Skycam because we have the live shot of things that are ongoing. But again, that's a live view. We're in northeast Cedar Rapids. We're looking off to the northwest. You had that big shelf cloud pass overhead. That's a leading edge of the storm. And now we had some power flashes. We saw those power flashes live on the air moments ago. That's it getting kicked up. To reiterate, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Lynn County, Jones County, and northern portions of Cedar County until 9 o'clock this evening. We're talking about wind gusts of 70 to 80 miles per hour. Right now, it's only warned for 70. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some gusts approach 80 miles per hour. So again, here's the split screen. You can see that's the view. Cedar Rapids from our tower. It's about 300 feet up. We're looking off to the northwest. The strongest winds are going to be right here. Okay, we're going to be, just to give you some perspective how we are preparing for the severe weather, we're actually going to switch over to generator power just in case we lose power here in Cedar Rapids. That means we will be able to stay with you through the storm, even if we lose power. We were the only station back in 2020 at the duration to stay online and broadcast the information to you. It's because of the preparedness that we do live on Facebook. This is elevated, but we're talking wind gust of 100. Hear the wind arriving to our studio. Very strong winds are now moving to the Cedar Rapids metro area. And there's the gust.
That camera was struggling there for a bit.
The lights are shaking here in the studio. Go ahead, Kason.
We've had reports of 70 mile per hour winds in Palo, obviously here in Lynn County, and we've seen reports as well as reduced visibility. If you're driving on Interstate 380 right now, heading north, it is going to be tough to see. You need to pull over and maybe get off somewhere if you can. Go to a business, get inside of one of those. Just because you lost power, I'm not sure. Let me know if we're. Let me just know.
Power flashes outside the studio.
We had power flashes outside the studio here. Just let me know. I'm going to act like we're still on. We just lost power here. So obviously we have lost power here. Stuff is going to try and reboot right now as we're on generator power. You can see just how black and dark it is outside here on our Cedar Rapids Skycam, and that looks like we just kind of lost that. So we lost that camera. Let me transition off to our south camera now in Cedar Rapids. That might give us a view if that one's still online, actually.
Real quick, everybody in our studio, shelter now. Shelter now, everyone in our studio right now. We're going to hold out here for a little bit longer, but everyone in studio in our building, take shelter. So you at home, I want you to do the same. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Very intense winds now moving into the Cedar Rapids metro area. So please treat these storms with respect. Get inside. Let me know if Skycam is back up, and we'll take that whenever. But I think it's still rebooting because we took a power hit, and a lot of systems weren't quite on generator yet. So we're resetting a few things here on the back end of things. But again, we have very strong winds now. You can kind of see that core of winds moving right into northwestern Lynn County. So not to exclude everybody else here in Lynn County, but we have other issues in Lynn County as well, other than the Cedar Rapids metro area. We'll go ahead and zoom in here. So the strongest winds now moving right down Highway 30, Hiawatha, Robbins, Palo, Alburnett, Marion, Hiawatha, Cedar Rapids. Very intense winds now are moving with hitting our studio at this hour. We may not have any traffic cams. It's possible they went down due to power outages because we saw all those power flashes on the camera. This one here at I-3 and Blair's Ferry appears to be offline. Let's try and jump towards Marion. This is at Collins Road and First Avenue. The Cedar Rapids, you can see the very strong winds moving in the street lights there. This is probably winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour moving right now through the Cedar Rapids metro area. Very intense thunderstorm. And we might have lost that camera as well, just to show you the intensity of the storm that's moving through the area right now. So Cedar Rapids metro area, you are in the threat right now. Let's go ahead and zoom out a bit more. I want to reset the for other people that are downstream, give you the warning, give the timing. Is this
right now?
Okay, I'll do 50 just to be safe. The leading edge here, this storm is driving east and southeast, so it's already in Cedar Rapids, the Eastern Iowa Airport within the next minute or two if it's not there already. Anamosa 8:26, Monticello at 8:31, Mechanicsville 8:36, Wyoming at 8:43, Clarence at 8:43. Also, we're talking Tipton to the Tipton Walmart area around 8:57. The winds are still getting stronger, I think, here. Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, and we do have, I'm not sure, I know people went to shelter here and everything. We do actually have our sky cam back up, and you can't see a thing on it whatsoever. I'm not sure, obviously, what's kind of going on in the back and everything here. We had a bump to internet, actually, but yeah, you can see, look at the intense lightning there. The camera is just shaking around. We obviously lost internet for a bit, so we weren't getting any updates here now. And it looks like that severe thunderstorm warning lights went out and we were shaking. That's no surprise whatsoever. This is very dangerous situation. You need to be indoors, away from windows. I would treat this like a tornado warning at this point. Interior room, bathroom, basement if you can. These are just destructive storms rolling through the Cedar Rapids metro area for right now, and you need to take shelter with the things that are going on. If you know anybody who is at any campgrounds in the area, you need to call them, let them know what is going on because they need to find shelter. Any events taking place, they've probably already been warned. We've had this severe thunderstorm warning, but even as far south, I would say if you've got people at Ragbri and Coralville right now, the way this is kind of trending with the destructive tags going on these storms, call them, let them know what is going on.
Again, we had a very strong area, and we do have the brand new severe thunderstorm warning. This is with the destructive tag. We can go ahead and you can take radar full again, guys. I'll walk over to the wall. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is an update on the previous one. You can kind of see it there for the Cedar Rapids metro. I'll let you frame it there. But that's the new warning there. It's flashing there. So Cedar Rapids, you are now in a destructive thunderstorm tag that's 80 miles per hour that will be moving towards Monticello. Anamosa, this will be moving towards the Mount Vernon area, heading down that way as well. So there's a very intense core of winds right here moving into the metro area. We can still hear it. Is this the most recent radar update? Are we getting radar updates? Can you?
I believe. Yeah, let me go in here and check.
I just want to make sure we're not looking at old data here.
Max 2 is a bit ahead. It does look like that.
Okay, so that works. Okay, so we're good. We just want to make sure we're not showing bad data here. Again, we have that very intense thunderstorm now. This new warning continues for the Cedar Rapids metro area over towards Anamosa, Monticello, all of Jones County, northern portions here of Cedar County. This will continue until 9:15. Destructive 80-mile-per-hour winds are currently occurring with this storm. I don't want to forget our friends farther off to the west. We have that destructive thunderstorm there over towards Tama County as well. I real quick want to zoom in here. This is that other storm that we're talking about, destructive wind. Possible, again, treat this similar to a tornado warning just because the wind gusts are that intense. This is moving from Poweshiek County into Tama County right now. I do want to look and see some of the storm reports that we've been getting with this storm. I know are pretty high end. If we look at the info tab here, we got that wind report there. That was 93 miles per hour. That was in Albion. That's technically just outside of our area, but that's the storm that's moving into Tama County. Looks like we have some damage as well. Some very large trees down at the Spotter's Yard. That's also in Albion. So we had that very intense storm that's also moving into Tama County. So we got a lot of storms that we're tracking. One big line of thunderstorms this evening here in eastern Iowa. We're going to go ahead and go back to, let's jump to this new warning, I suppose. Brand new warning just coming towards. We're talking about a destructive thunderstorm that continues for Jackson County as well. Jonesville, we already aware of that, but you can see the Dubuque area is still dealing with that thunderstorm as well. So let's go ahead and look at this. We'll go back to the radar view. Kaysen, are you seeing any new reports coming in? I know a lot just happened there very quickly. Go right ahead.
Yeah, we got a couple more reports. Obviously, we're on that destructive storm there with that 90 mile per hour. A little bit out of our area, but near Marshalltown. Emergency managers reporting damage to homes as well as roofs there. If we slowly maybe work our way back to the Cedar Rapids metro area, obviously, as this storm moves on through, we have had a report of a 90 mile per hour gust in Hiawatha. High end, likely probably going to see some damaged trees, power lines. Obviously, we saw the power flashes on camera there as it rolled through the area. We've also just seen a lot of things with just zero visibility. So if you're turning about 826 Center Junction, 828 there in Otter Creek, maybe right around 841. So you got a little bit of time, but you need to treat these like they're pretty much tornado warnings with that destructive tag on it. In the basement, interior room or closet, away from any windows. Always a good idea to maybe have some, make sure you got shoes on, blanket or something to even cover yourself up. Because these are just dangerous winds that can throw debris around really anywhere.
All right, so we have another traffic camera here. This is further down to the south. This is Moortown towards the North Liberty area, I-380 Penn Street. If you're going north on Cedar or on I-380, friends, you need to stop. You need to stop at North Liberty. Do not go beyond the Iowa River. Sometimes we do that during severe weather. Please get off the road. All these cars driving northbound at I-380, they're about to encounter a very serious storm. If you know anybody that may be driving tonight from Iowa City up to Cedar Rapids, give them a call, give them a text, get them off the road because big problems are awaiting them. We can take the Skycam again. You can see we're still experiencing very strong winds. The winds have backed off a bit, but we're still likely talking about wind gusts approaching maybe 40, 50 miles per hour. Earlier, we easily likely had gusts around 90 miles per hour here at the studio in Northeast Cedar Rapids. The good news is there's a lot of lights there. So power, it likely took some hits in the area. We saw it right outside our studio, but at least we're not in total blackout in Lynn County, which is very good news. You can also see the other threat we're dealing with this evening. Wind gust in Hiawatha, not far from where we are here in the studio. So if you're just popping in, let's do a quick reset on the most destructive thunderstorm that we're talking about right now. I'm going to walk over back to the wall here, but we do have this severe thunderstorm warning, which continues. This is a destructive thunderstorm. 80 mile per hour wind gust will be likely. This warning continues for Cedar County, northern Cedar County, as well as Jones and Lynn County. That until 9:15. Anamosa on 820, Monticello on 826, Center Junction 828, Lisbon and the Mount Vernon area around there around 836, Otter Creek 941, Mechanicsville 845, Otter Creek 841, excuse me, but Coconut around 855, Lost Nation, they'll be in your area around 9 o'clock. So now this will be paramount for all of our friends that are dealing with RAGBRAI. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Iowa County, virtually all of Johnson County here, as well as much of Cedar County. This is another considerable threat, a 70 mile per hour threat for severe weather moving through the area tonight. All of our friends at RAGBRAI, you need to take shelter now. You need to take shelter right now. Take the shot if you got it. Well, I'll keep talking. Here's I-380 at Swisher. This is the storm that's moving in your direction. We're looking south here, and what you can see there on the horizon, all that dust that's getting kicked up in the leading edge. Kaysen, if you can work with Coralville, if you can get our Coralville Skycam.
I do have our Cedar Rapids South one up, and it is intense right now as well. If we want to pull that, and I'll work on getting Coralville up here.
Yeah, so this is the Cedar Rapids Skycam. You can kind of see in the bottom right side of your screen, that might be actually covered up by the ticker, but there's flags down there that are blowing pretty intense. Very strong winds with the storm. Northern Cedar Rapids and downtown Cedar Rapids got hit very hard. It's just now the hardest of it moving towards the eastern Iowa airport. So you can kind of see that big shelf cloud, the very strong winds as well. All this traffic moving northbound to I-380, you really want to get off the interstate. You do not want to be driving into the storm. The worst of it right now approaching about Highway 30 and Wrights Brother Boulevard there by the airport exit. So that is that. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Cedar Rapids. Again, we have this other brand new warning as well. So all of our friends in Ragbri down in Coralville, you need to be listening to emergency responders and officials. If you're listening to us right now on mobile, got to make sure you guys are taking shelter right now. Sturdy building, you got to leave tents. Vehicles might be okay with 70 miles per hour. Look at that shot. So this is what's coming into Coralville. We have thousands upon tens of thousands of people. Big shelf cloud on the way. That's the leading edge of very intense winds, likely approaching maybe 70 to 80 miles per hour. This will be moving into Johnson County towards Coralville, Iowa City, North Liberty right now. So this will be slowly moving down that way. That shelf cloud is right on the leading edge of that wind here. So let's go ahead and kind of give you guys a quick timeline of where this storm will be moving. Let's say it's moving at about 50 miles per hour. We'll draw it along the gust front here. We'll take it off to the south and east. So again, this is just kind of some rough timing for planning purposes. North Liberty around 8:23. Within the next couple of minutes, the worst of it will arrive. Coal Ridge Mall there in Coralville around 8:31. Iowa City at 8:38. Tipton at 8:40. Grand Mountain around 8:54. And DeWitt outside of our area around 8:59. So
and I'm not sure if you mentioned it because I was working on some other things, but actually that severe thunderstorm warning here, as I'll move us up, the one that is right over Cedar Rapids right now. Ooh, whoopsie. I got to clear that out.
I see what you're talking about.
It's warned for 100 miles an hour now. So obviously that's, I'm going to try and move us up. Yeah, this is warned right here, this warning for 100-mile-per-hour winds. That is obviously just very destructive. So you're just looking at towns that are going to be in the way of this soon. Obviously moving into Anamosa now, Wyoming, Oxford Junction, you're in this warning, Olin, Mechanicsville, Lisbon. You are in this warning for right now. 100-mile-per-hour winds are expected out of that. It looks like they might have just dropped it back down to 80, which is a little bit better news, but certainly still destructive storms moving across the area here. And it doesn't matter where you are, all of these severe thunderstorms. So obviously that is just some real cause for concern. We have some video from Marion. I think if we have that there. Here's some of that video. You can see it looks like in an intersection there. Yeah, it's just really tough to see that rain is just falling sideways. Basically got that semi has its hazards on. Tough to see here. That was what moved through a little bit earlier. So you can just see how difficult it is to obviously see then. And also the wind's just really, really blowing hard. So obviously we'll be watching that sort of gust front that's kind of out there in the middle or out there ahead of this storm. That's where a lot of those early destructive winds are going to be located. It looks like that is actually back up to 100 miles an hour now.
Yeah, there was a new warning that was issued that kind of underneath it. But yeah, the 100 mile per hour tag stands. So this is about as intense as it gets, friends. We went through the worst of it in Cedar Rapids. Wind gust. Again, the worst of that storm has now moved into Jones County, will be approaching Cedar County and northern Johnson County. So very intense winds here. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this many times. We're just going to kind of give you guys updates on timing just to give you some awareness. You can see the leading edge of that storm almost into Iowa City and Coralville right now. So Solon is pretty much on you right now. North Liberty around 8:26. If it's not already on you, it's probably there pretty soon. Coal Ridge Mall in Coralville around 8:32. I wouldn't wait that long. I think it's probably going to be there before then, at least the strong initial gusts of it. Tipton over in Cedar County around 8:41. Wheatland around 8:49. So this just shows you the intensity of this storm that's moving through the area right now. We're starting to see a lot of reports in the Cedar Rapids metro area of tree branches down, through. You're looking at a live view right now from the south side of Cedar Rapids. This is right by the airport. You can see the camera there shaking pretty good as well. The worst of that storm is still in the deeper part of the range. So there's an initial front, gust front of very strong winds, and the worst of the wind is actually a bit more behind it. So right now we have the latest report. This may go up, but the latest report is about 2,500 people without power right now in Linn County. I want to go through, if you guys can take radar full, I'm going to pop over to the wall again, friends. Again, this is the worst of the storm right now. It's likely moving just through Springville, Lisbon, Mount Vernon. Get ready. The worst of that storm is right here. This is the core of the max deal, but if you don't have a basement, that's fine. Just upper level of your house, but as many walls between you and the outside, like an interior hallway, interior closet, interior bathroom. We want to make sure you're taking shelter from these severe thunderstorms. Morley coming your way as well. Mechanicsville, this will be coming in your direction as well. So very intense wind is continuing to move and barrel through southeastern and eastern portions of Lynn County. It will now be moving into southwestern portions of Jones County and northwest Cedar County. This is the strongest part of the storm. It moved right through northern Cedar Rapids, Marion, Hiawatha, and Robbins. It's now moving towards Springville. We're talking about Morley, Lisbon, Mount Vernon, Mechanicsville. Those areas, I'm calling out your town, or at least if you're living near the it reached down to southwestern Jones County. So you really need to make sure you're taking this storm very seriously here. Let's go ahead. We'll go back and kind of do a quick reset. I want to just kind of bring everybody up to speed of what we're dealing with right now. The worst of the weather right now moving through Lynn County into Jones County and northern Cedar County. Well, let's take a live view right now from Coralville. You can see the strongest of the storm. This is the gust front. Starting to arrive right now. Wind gusts approaching 60 to 70 miles per hour will be likely there, followed by potentially even stronger winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour. But I think Coralville and Iowa City, at least as of now, in that severe thunderstorm warning, as well as Iowa County, southern Benton County, Jones County, and Cedar County. So let's do a bit of a kind of walk around. We'll go through from kind of line of the storm, and we'll go swing all the way around over towards Dubuque. We'll start off here with this severe thunderstorm warning that continues here. This is for Tama County. We still have that threat of 70-mile-per-hour winds with that right there, and that was actually a confirmed report. We actually had winds of 93 measured in Albion and Poweshiek County just west of Tama County. So hopefully the worst of it did not reach into Tama County, but we know that it was certainly possible. That severe thunderstorm warning continues until 8:30. There's another polygon here though, actually until 9:15. I'm trying to get this guy right here. I don't think I'm getting the right one, but there's this severe thunderstorm warning. There we go. For 60-mile-per-hour. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for northern Iowa County, most of Johnson County, and northwestern and western portions of Cedar County. We're talking about winds of 70 miles per hour. The worst of that right now, basically into Coralville. We'll be moving into Iowa City towards West Branch as well. Solon, you're already in the thick of that storm. Swisher, North Liberty, Oxford as well. South of Iowa City, you're going to be next. So Hills, this storm is coming in your direction as well. Washington County and Keokuk County, for the time being, you're escaping the severe weather warnings, but that may change with time. We'll have to see how things evolve here. The worst of that storm continues to be this destructive thunderstorm, 100-mile-per-hour winds right now moving through eastern Lynn County, but the worst of it right now is likely in western portions. Raindrops Jones County. So again, Anamosa, Morley, Lisbon, Mount Vernon, over towards Clarence, Oxford Junction, Wyoming, Monticello. Get ready. We're talking about winds potentially as high as 100 miles per hour. Put the radar view back on. I'm going to go back, just clear this banner, and we'll swing off to the north, where we're still dealing with severe weather over in the Dubuque area. By the Dubuque Airport, we're talking about pretty strong winds here. There are so many polygons here. I'm not going to be able to get the right one. I'm not even going to try. But we're talking about winds of potentially 60 to 70 miles per hour. They are the ones that take over the TV coverage for Jackson County. But we do have that very strong winds moving from the Dubuque Airport roughly into Jackson County. Of course, we're also still dealing with pretty strong winds here on the backside. This is another damaging threat on the backside of that initial line moving into Dubuque. We got some pretty strong winds here. So this is pushing out of Delaware County into Dubuque County. So Earlville, Dyersville, down to Hopkinton. We get Epworth, Cascade. That's another area where we're going to be talking about potentially very strong winds, around 70 to 80 miles per hour. Meteorologist Casey Frericks continuing to keep an eye on the severe weather reports coming on in. Any updates?
Yeah, obviously a lot of reports are now coming in of the damage that has taken place here in the Cedar Rapids metro area as well as Marion. Reports of tree branches, larger tree branches. You're continuing to well, and we've also seen reports of a damage to some mobile homes. Not sure exactly where that particular maybe mobile home park is at or where those homes are located, but obviously those are structures that do not do well when there are 100-mile-per-hour wind gusts working through the area. So the damage likely to be widespread across obviously the city here as well. And Nick, looks like we have a little bit of extent. It looks like it's mostly out of our area, obviously, but a bit of an extension there on that destructive severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, a new severe thunderstorm warning there for the southeastern and eastern portions there of Cedar County as this ahead of the line of storms, and this will ultimately be moving into the Quad Cities area, in our area as well. This storm continues to move off to the east now at 70 miles per hour, so the speed on this continues to kind of uptick. If we put another fan on it, we'll give another kind of heads up when this will be moving into your area. Let me go ahead and set this up here for you. The strongest core of winds along the leading edge of the gust front, and then it continues to dive east and southeast. So Clarence around 831, Iowa City around 837 if it's not there already. Bellevue, that's technically out of our area, around 845, and then all those other towns are outside of our viewing area. But if you know people that may be living in those areas, friends or relatives, give them a call, give them a text, let them know the danger that's coming our way. We do have some pretty intense winds that will be exiting our area, moving into northwestern Illinois and far eastern and southeastern portions of Iowa outside. The interstates and things took that initial line through Cedar Rapids pretty well. I'm not seeing any major reports of crashes or anything. That's good news there. But again, the worst of that storm is now moving into Jones County. We'll go ahead and we'll zoom back in here. The worst of that storm continues to be with this destructive 100-mile-per-hour tag. I'm not sure if it's still or not. There's just so many polygons issued. They're just slapped on top of each other.
It's still warned. Yeah, I have it pulled up here. It's still warned for 100-mile-per-hour destructive winds, obviously, with that obviously gust front that is out ahead of these storms, and then obviously more strong winds that are in behind that where sort of the rain is. So you're kind of getting a 1-2 punch as these kind of kick on through the area. Actually, you can see those bright blues and even some purples kind of showing up there. Those are just the really intense winds that are a part of these storms. Again, right now, Stanwood and Clarence, those are just right around in the next couple of minutes. You are going to be expecting these strong winds that are up to 80+ miles per hour working their way into your area. Make sure you're getting inside a home and obviously also staying away from the windows in your home as well.
And you can really kind of see, as you know, he was alluding to, that very thick core of the strongest winds. Now really exiting Linn County, we're still going to be dealing with some pretty strong wind gusts periodically approaching maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. So if you're going to be outside surveying the damage around your neighborhood, be mindful of what's above you. Power lines or tree limbs that may have been damaged but haven't fully fallen. Before you walk anywhere, it's dark outside, look up. Look up what's above you if you're going to start surveying the damage, because you don't know what you're going to be walking into. If you are walking outside in the dark, have a flashlight. Make sure you can see before Nixville and racing right down Highway 30. So if I kind of look at the traditional radar view, the rain view of things, you can kind of see the strongest core of winds. They're going to happen with the heavier precipitation because it needs that precipitation to mix those winds down. And so your strongest winds are going to be in this heavier precipitation right now. But that initial gust, where we could see gusts of maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour, that's not well to the east. Like Oxford Junction, it probably already just blew through you there. Clarence is already through you as well. Loudon, that's kind of the last stop in our viewing area for this storm for it to go through. That'll be approaching here within the next couple of minutes. This is the initial gust front, where we're talking about wind gusts of potentially 50 to 60 miles per hour, maybe as high as 70, but those gusts of be kind of in this heavier precipitation core right here. So Onslow to Wyoming, Scotch Grove, Olin, Morley, Anamosa, south of Monticello. This is going to be the core of the most intense winds right now. We actually, as you can still tell, we actually do have a tornado warning that continues just off to our east and southeast here. This is outside our viewing area, but you probably are going to see it on the side of your screen. Just want to give you a heads up. There's a little, you can kind of see like a nubbin right there. That is where that circulation would be, southwest of Otter Creek. But again, this is exiting our area. This is not going to affect our viewing area. But if you're watching us online and you happen to be in the Quad Cities and things like that, know that that's kind of heading in that general direction. For us, the main threat continues to be the destructive winds moving through eastern Iowa. Let's do a reset on things. a situation right now. Let's actually take a live, or not a live here. Our photojournalist, Logan Schroeder, you can see the shelf cloud that's moving on through. He's partaking in the Ragbri, or near the Ragbri festivities. All those tents, that's what concerns me the most. A lot of people in RVs and tents in Ragbri. We're talking about tens of thousands of people that are visiting the area as part of Ragbri, and they just experienced a good old Iowa thunderstorm. We're talking winds of potentially 70 to 80 miles per hour rolled on through the Coralville area. Hopefully everyone is taking shelter with it. Here's again a look at the current state of things. There are warning polygons slapped all over the place here. The general idea, though, is that we have a strong line of thunderstorms moving from Dubuque towards the Anamosa area, still sitting in Cedar Rapids, and then this extends westward into southern Tama County, southern Benton County, northern Iowa County, and northern Johnson County as well. So this line is going to continue to move east and southeast over the night. We may be northwest over towards Florida portion of the population, but that's pretty big. You can see Buchanan County's got some outages as well, and we're starting to see some numbers there in Benton County, nearly 1,000 customers in the dark there. And I got to tell you, I just walked outside here a minute ago. I think a lot of these outages are northeast Cedar Rapids, because outside of our studio, it looks very dark. All the houses here in the neighborhood, I don't see any lights on. So I think a lot of these outages are likely in the northeastern side of Cedar Rapids. Northbound, which is good. We don't want them driving in this storm tonight. Again, kind of summarizing the radar threat. Kaysen, by the way, if you have anything, just feel free to shout and let me know. We'll jump over to you. But again, we're watching that line of storms that moves on through. I think the good news here is that things are not looking as intense as they were. I don't want to belittle this at all. Based on what we went through, this has a pretty good chance that it can uptick once again. However, those destructive 100-mile-per-hour winds likely subsiding just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the warnings. We're going to be jumping around here, and the reason we're going wall to wall with the severe thunderstorm warning is the severity of this. I don't think anybody in Cedar Rapids has to question why we're on the air right now. We just went through a very intense thunderstorm. We do have this warning that continues here for Lynn County, Jones County, and northern Cedar County. That continues until 9 o'clock for about weather, I think, is outside of Lynn County at this point in time. But also northern portions of Cedar County, you're going to be dealing with those very intense winds pretty shortly as well. We'll jump on down to, again, Johnson County. We're dealing with this severe thunderstorm warning as well. That warning will continue until, I believe, it's 9:45. Let me jump on down here. Oh, that's also 9:15. My apologies. 9:15, this severe thunderstorm warning, which continues for northern Iowa County, much of Johnson County, and this will move over into Cedar County as well. This particular storm, we're talking about wind gusts of 70 miles per hour, some small hail as well. We had that initial gust front. You can see it is now well through the Iowa City metro area. That continues, though, to dive southeast. Let's take a look at the city. You can see on the horizon there, we're looking off to the west here. So on the left side of your screen, that's south. And so you can see the leading edge of that storm there on the horizon. Thankfully, not a lot of people out and about. Hopefully they're aware of the severity of the storm that'll be moving on through eastern Iowa right now. That's moving on through the area. But again, we're dealing with very strong winds now moving through Iowa City metro area. Here's a live look at Highway 218 and Highway 1 on the west side of town. You can see the camera shaking pretty good. The stronger wind gusts are starting to arrive. We're talking about wind gusts right now around 60 to 70 miles per hour. These, though, could increase potentially maybe 70 to 80. But I think the worst of the wind, thankfully, should stay just off to the north for our friends in Ragbri. Unfortunately, that is moving through Jones County. Here's a live view right now at Kiddick Stadium. Big shelf cloud there. That's that leading edge of the really strong winds. I'm trying to pull up our camera that's on Burlington Street. I don't know if I'm going to be able to snipe it here. I'm not going to be able to. That's fine. Very strong winds here. Let's look at maybe the south side. Again, here's 218 Highway 1. We'll jump up north more towards the Swisher area. You can see the frequent lightning, heavy rain falling there. Frequent lightning. That is going to be the other major concern with storms going forward tonight. Kaysen, any new reports coming out in?
Just obviously damage reports kind of pulling on in here as well. Sorry, looking back a little bit. Obviously, these storms continuing to track its way off towards the south and east. We've seen the reports still coming in of 70-mile-per-hour winds, 80-mile-per-hour winds as well. Of course, these storms labeled as destructive for 80-plus mile-per-hour winds there as we're pushing on through. I know that we're working to get some video. We have some more video possibly when That's where obviously a lot of the action is starting to pick up there. It looks like obviously it is 8:43, but it is just entirely dark out there. But like Nick mentioned, is the prolific lightning that's taking place, and you can just see it's like every second we've got lightning coming out. So that's one of those other hazards as well. If you're trying to get a peek outside even and try and snap a couple pictures or a video, that's even dangerous. Then the possibility of maybe even getting struck by lightning there, certainly that possibility. We can go back to Max 1 now. I can control it here and kind of take us around what's kind of going on into the area. So obviously, so storms right there, moving out of Tama County, not really kind of moving out of the area there. Tama a little bit out of in the clear now. Those have moved out of your area here. Obviously, that gust front moved on through. You were looking at 50, 60 mile per hour winds there. And then once the line with that has the rain in it, that you're obviously going to see those winds 70, possibly 80 mile per hour during that time, moving into Marengo now, as well as Oxford. So North Liberty, in the next couple of minutes here, you're going to be in the gun. And that includes obviously Coralville and Iowa City, as well as West Branch. You're likely going to be seeing some issues here within the next couple of minutes with some very gusty winds there. If you've got folks maybe traveling on Interstate 80, whatever way they're going, if they're heading east or heading west through the area, maybe they're not weather aware or they don't know entirely what's going on, maybe give them a call, let them know. Obviously, as they approach maybe Iowa City, they can get off, just kind of wait this out a little bit. We've had reports of blinding rain taking place, the rain falling sideways because the wind is so strong, visibility greatly reduced out. And we still have obviously this tornado warning where you can actually see that little bit of a notch there near Otter Creek. That's mostly out of our area here as well. Our friends at the Quad Cities are kind of dealing with that, but obviously you can get those sort of spin ups on that leading edge of lines of storms like this, and then we can get that little spin to happen, and that could possibly be a tornado that there is on the ground. So we'll just give you a wide view, I should say, as that new that's a big polygon there that has come in. So this will actually include Washington County. Now you're included in southern portions of Johnson County there, included into that newest warning that has been issued. Once again, still destructive storms with expecting 80+ miles per hour winds with those here. So make sure folks down there in Washington, Riverside, you're getting ready to go into your safe place because like we've said, a couple debris around roofs across the area here. Nick, you got anything else, obviously, looking at some of the reports coming in?
Just seeing some damage reports of power poles broken in Cedar Rapids. This is northeast Cedar Rapids. We did have reports at the Dubuque Airport gusting measured of 60 miles per hour. These storms continue to pack quite a punch as they move on through the area. We had some spotted reports of power out, multiple branches down. I don't have exact location other than northeast Cedar Rapids. I do know northeast Cedar Rapids likely got the worst of the storm. I'm trying to check into my security cameras at home, and I don't have any connectivity, which means we're either out without power or internet or both, either one of those things. Are primarily going to be wind damage. We had some destructive storms that moved on through the area. You can see the storm continues moving southward, so Iowa County into Johnson County into Cedar County. That severe thunderstorm warning for 70 mile per hour winds. We're talking about you had that initial gust front, but you got that second wave that's going to be coming on in with the heaviest of that precipitation. And again, for those that are east of us, just an FYI, with that tornado warning, there is a confirmed tornado near Andrew. But again, that is outside of our area. That's north of Maquoketa. But just an FYI for anybody that may be watching us out that way, with that tornado warning, there is a confirmed tornado now.
I can try and get over there maybe just to look at that.
We just had another report from the Dubuque Airport, gusting to 60 knots. Nearly 70 mile per hour winds now in the Dubuque area. We just had a brand new report come in of 71 miles per hour. This is from the Union Pacific Railroad Mesonet Station, which I didn't know was a thing until right now, but that's awesome. But we have a report of 71 mile per hour now in Loudon. That's in far southeastern portions of Cedar County. That is with that initial gust of wind. So we're getting all sorts of reports here coming on in with this very intense line of storms that continues to move through eastern Iowa. We can actually kind of, if I can take over here for a second, we'll pop up just all the reports, and you can kind of see all these reports that extend way off to the northwest. I'm going to turn off the lightning because there's a lot going on here. But again, we have that confirmed tornado there. There's the new polygon. This is near Andrew, north of Maquoketa. Again, this is not in our viewing area, but there is the Jackson County Fair that is going on right now. This would be moving their text. Let them know that they got significant problems coming their way in Jackson County. But the majority of the reports that we're seeing here in the Cedar Rapids metro area, real quick and kind of pop up some of these. We had a gust here in Atkins of 60 miles per hour. We had a gust here of Palo of 70 miles per hour. Midway of 82 miles per hour. We had this gust here near Hiawatha of 90 miles per hour. That was the other thing that we're doing. We also have 66 miles per hour in Marion, damage to mobile homes. Southeast Cedar Rapids, 72 miles per hour. So we had a very intense line of storms that moved on through. The Cedar Rapids airport gusted to 69 miles per hour at 8:16. And finally, we got that report near Loudon of 71. So this storm made its presence felt. Gust of 53 over towards Vinton. We do have Nick Wagon, the road warrior, tonight. He's in the Cedar Rapids metro area, kind of surveying things. Nick.
Well, Nick, so far we've only seen just some minor damage, small tree limbs in the roadway. We're making our way to the east side of Marion right now on 7th Ave. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the shot. You can see things much calmer despite plenty of lightning out there still, but the winds have calmed here in the metro. The rain is beginning to subside, at least on the north side of the metro. And right now we are heading for that report of mobile homes that were damaged near Highway 151 and Highway 13 on the northeast side of Marion. But again, so far, obviously, you see with the road construction here in Marion, some cones knocked over. We've seen some limbs down and some debris in the roadway. Fortunately, no major damage that we've seen so far, but we're going to check out and see, make sure everyone's okay in that mobile home park where there was damage reported to some of the homes there. Nick, we'll send it back to you.
All right, we continue to watch the severe thunderstorm warning continues for all of Washington County. 60-mile-per-hour winds now moving into the northern portion of Washington County. That gust front there from Riverside over to Wellman, that'll be moving south and southeast. So if we do put a quick fan on this to track its track, let's say 40 miles per hour, as it moves through Washington County here. Lexington around 8:59, the Wellman area around 8:51, and then Keota around 9:01. Then down towards Crawfordsville, that'll be affecting your area generally probably around about 9:15 to 9:20 or so. So that's rough timing as that storm continues to move through Washington County. We have this other severe thunderstorm warning that continues for 80-mile-per-hour winds. This is southeastern portions of Cedar County. This is not moving area, but Durant, that's that initial gust of wind moving in that direction. Moving farther off to the north, we are still watching this tornado warning, which again is outside of our area. It is in Jackson County, a confirmed tornado moving through Jackson County right now. This does include Andrew, Van Buren, down towards Savannah. In Illinois. You can see Springbrook right there. This is a confirmed tornado based on radar and reports. I can actually pop up the what we call the correlation coefficient or damage indicator, and you can kind of make out there is a debris signature there north of Andrew. This is a confirmed tornado moving through, again, Jackson County, what is outside of our area, over towards there it is. Say 9 o'clock, gust of 60 miles per hour there. Very intense winds are moving through the area as well. So we're almost done with this, friends. This line is almost through the area, almost into northern Illinois. But we're still dealing with the effects of it here. Again, this is, of course, still moving through Iowa County. We have this until 9:15, a considerable threat of 70-mile-per-hour winds. If you're in the Coralville area, Iowa City area, North Liberty, Newport over towards West Branch, Hills is in this area as well. You had that initial gust of winds, likely 50 to 60 miles per hour, and we're about to get another pretty good burst of winds as this continues to move southward. So North Liberty, you're probably going to start getting into the winds here pretty soon, as well as the heavier rainfall and frequent lightning. Want to make sure you're treating the lightning with respect just as much as everything else. A report in Dubuque County near Zwingle of 59 miles per hour. More confirmations of the tornado in Jackson County, which again is outside of our area. Marion, we had a measured gust of 66 miles per hour. We had other reports around 90 miles per hour. Loudon against 71. So this intense line of storms continues to kind of move through the area. Kason, if you get a second too, if you can pull up the Cedar Rapids, our tower sky cam, and kind of look around and see if we can find some damage kind of around the studio. I'm not sure if there's any responders or anything like that. Go ahead and take Split with Road Warrior. Okay, we got a live view again of the Road Warrior tonight, kind of traveling around the Cedar Rapids metro area. We did have some reports earlier of damage to mobile homes. I believe that is what we're on the hunt for right now. Your property, you really need to make sure you're looking out for power lines, tree limbs down, things like that. You don't exactly know what you're going to be walking into. Make sure you're using a flashlight to survey the damage at night. And of course, look at what's above you as well. Be very cognizant of hanging power lines, hanging tree branches. The fatalities that we had in the August 10th, 2020 derecho, most of those were due to damage, power lines down, tree limbs falling. So just keep that in mind, that even though the worst of the weather is moving out, the worst of the impacts may still be sticking with us here for a while. So again, we're just kind of cruising through the area, kind of looking for damage reports right now. Miles per hour, but the worst of the weather is really moving east of Lynn County now, almost completely now out of Jones County as well. Cedar County, you're going to be dealing with the strong winds as well. Northern Johnson County, we're dealing with that intense winds over towards Iowa County. So this line is going to continue to drift southward. The leading edge of the very strong winds, you can kind of make it out here very clearly from about Maquoketa, just west of the Quad Cities, and now approaching Washington. So Washington, you're about to get a big gust of wind here. This will be way ahead of the actual rain, and a lot of the lightning will be way off on the horizon. You're about to get a pretty good gust of wind here, maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's the current indication that we're seeing moving into Washington. So Washington County and Washington get well. We'll do a quick zoom in here on Johnson County. You can see the heaviest rain now pushing into North Liberty towards Coralville and Iowa City. This, as it pushes off to the south and east, will be moving towards the Iowa City area. So we're talking about winds potentially around 70 miles per hour. That's the current indication here from the National Weather Service. That is a considerable threat, according to the Weather Service here. 70 mile per hour winds likely about to move towards North Liberty, Coralville, down to Iowa City, down to Hills as well. If you're up further off to the north, say southeastern Lynn County, you're still likely dealing with some strong winds as well, potentially maybe 50 to 60 or 70 miles per hour. I think the worst are probably east of you. But again, Lisbon, Mount Vernon, you're still dealing with pretty strong winds as well. Bertram down to Ely, eastward over towards southern portion of Jones County, you're still likely dealing with over towards Clarendon, gust of 70 to 80 miles per hour. So this worst of the storm continues to dive southeastward over the next probably about 30 minutes or so. We hope to be done with this storm around 10 o'clock. I think the worst of this storm will be exiting our area by 10 o'clock. The good news is we're not seeing as many reports coming in of damage, but it's going to take some time. We're likely going to have a lot of assessments going on. It's pretty hard to report severe weather at night. So we're going to learn a lot more about what exactly happened here in the hours and day ahead. If you do have any live pictures from Iowa City, feel free to take them because there's a live view right now at the Pentecrest. You can see the flags at the top of the Pentecrest there, the old Capitol building, blowing from north to south. The strong gusty winds have moved. Logo. You really want to be inside, guys. Not only is the wind going to be a threat, but the lightning as well. I would definitely make sure I'm getting inside, away from the lightning, away from the wind, away from the rain. This storm has a history of producing some pretty significant damage in our area. So just kind of a heads up. We're likely going to stay on till at least 9. And then once we get to 9 o'clock, if you want to coordinate with me, Jacob, we can kind of figure out exactly how we want to maybe migrate into Fox 28 News at 9. Just let me know. And we'll just kind of make sure we're going to give continuous updates.